Hello everyone and welcome back to my kitchen. I thought I would share one of my recipes with you today and just kind of walk you through some of the things that I use my Pampered Chef with and show you how to make a really quick recipe that stretches. Now, you know as well as I do, the price of food today is skyrocketing. So finding meals that stretch for your family are very important. So what I'm going to do today is make a vegetable beef soup. And I'm going to show you how it can be done easily and quickly and can pretty much feed an army. So I subscribe to a co-op that provides us with fresh vegetables and things like that. So you can see here I have an assortment of fresh vegetables that I've already kind of sliced up. But you don't have to have that. So as you can see, I had some fresh vegetables that I got from the co-op. So I sliced up some zucchini and some squash. And I've got my hamburger, but I've also got some canned diced tomatoes. Now I did buy just a plain brand, and then I like flavor, so I bought some fire roasted diced tomatoes. And then I have some garden vegetable broth and some beef broth. Now for the rest of my vegetables, all right, take two, because it never fails. My child always calls me for something, especially when I'm trying to cook or film. So anyways, like I was saying, to make it easy, you can use either canned vegetables or frozen vegetables. Now, if you're looking for economical, frozen seems to be the way to go. You seem to get a little bit more than you would on the canned food aisle. So I've gotten some sliced mushrooms, some chopped onions. Now I have onions down here, but I don't really feel like chopping them right now, and it's all that easy, right? So some corn, I've got some lima beans, and yes, I'm even gonna add some diced tomatoes, potatoes in there. So you're gonna have leftover just from these little bags. You're gonna have leftover stuff to put back in the freezer. So you can use that later, so you're gonna get more for your money. But also this is going to make a lot. Like you could probably feed a family of, I don't know, 6 to 8, depending on how big of an appetite you've got. Making something like this. You could probably even feed more if you used actually everything in here. I'm gonna make just a small pot because, you know, there's currently only 2 in the house. So I'm just going to make enough for us to have for this evening, and then to have leftovers if we want to take, you know, some to work the next day. So you're saving money by not eating out. So let's get started. Okay, so what I'm about to tell you is an option. This is not required to make this recipe, but I'm all about flavor. So I want to clue you in on something that my brother taught me. My brother is the beef connoisseur of the family. He owns a barbecue food truck, so the man knows everything meat related. So he introduced me to the world of Wagyu beef tallow. You can get this on Amazon. Now this is about $30 for this tub. And you can see it's like a lard, it's a fat. But saute the vegetables that you need to saute in this Wagyu tallow. Amazing flavor. It'll add just something else to it. Now, if you don't have that, guess what? Everybody usually has bacon. I keep the bacon drippings, and you can use the bacon drippings to saute in to give you another depth of flavor. I use the bacon drippings in beans or whatever I want to use. But these are just 2 things that you can do. Again, they're optional, but they do help add another level of flavor to your soup. All right, so you can see I've just got a pot of hamburger. Now you can use chopped up steak, stew meat, whatever you want. I'm using hamburger, 1, because it tastes just as good, and 2, it's going to be faster than trying to wait for some steak or roast to basically get tender. So this is a quick meal, so I'm going to use hamburger. You want to make sure that the hamburger is cut up in the like small little pieces. If you've never used the Mix and Chop by Pampered Chef, then this thing is a wonder when it comes to doing your hamburger up. So we're gonna season our hamburger up. We're gonna have some salt and some pepper just to give it a little flavor in the meat. And we're gonna brown this up. So before I add my salt and pepper, I'm gonna add some Morton's Nature Seasons here. This stuff is just great. It's an all-in-one seasoning that goes well with everything. If you get this, use this first, then salt and pepper to taste as you see fit once you've used this, because it does have a little bit of both already in here. So the key is basically seasoning everything as you go. And the reason you're doing that is you're building flavor as you go through each step. So by the time you get to the end, you've got this amazing flavor. Everything has come together, everything is married well together, and your family's gonna be like, you slaved over this all day, and you're gonna be like, no, it took me less than an hour. So literally from start to finish, that's why I like this dish. You can have a complete meal, from putting it all together, letting it cook and letting the flavors marry, to serving it an hour, and you can feed your entire family. So in the grand scheme of things, a very quick, easy, yet hearty and flavorful meal. So let me finish browning this hamburger, and we're going to start putting everything together. You can see how the mix and chop basically gets this meat nice and chopped up. I don't like big chunks in my stuff. I guess maybe if you like that, you know, more power to you. Hey, lots of meat. But I like this one, especially when you're trying to stretch a meal. You still want to give people a good amount of meat, but you want to make it stretch. So using the mix and chop, you're not getting those big clumps of meat in there. It's kind of doing it really fine. And it's going to help it cook faster, and it's going to help it stretch. In addition, this works wonders when you're making mashed potatoes. It helps basically stomp down those potatoes and mix it up really well. So another handy option for the mix and chop. So in my pot, I've got all my frozen vegetables in some beef tallow. We're going to saute these up and just add that flavor in there. So pretty much my beef tallow is melted. Everything is coated real well. I'm going to add my diced fire roasted tomatoes to the mix. And that's also going to help start the process on these vegetables. Okay, so my vegetables are sauteing. The reason I like to saute them in the beginning is it helps with the cooking process. So if you're cooking that raw vegetable, or especially if you're adding potatoes or something like that, it go ahead and starts that cooking process so that it saves you time on the back end. Now we're still gonna let this cook once it's done for about 30 minutes to marry all the flavors together, allow time for everything to get nice and hot and tender. But I like to saute everything in the beginning before I add my tomatoes and all of that, just to get the process going. So what we're gonna do is we are going to add, I've browned the hamburger. All right, so what I've done is drained my hamburger and I've added it to the pot. Now this is going to make a good sized pot. This is gonna be full. So this will be plenty to have leftovers. Again, if you used all the ingredients, everything, it would make a massive pot. So if you had like a really big stock pot, you could really make this for an entire family. But you can see everything is in there. So what I'm going to do is add some vegetable broth to the mix. And again, like I said, this is going to be a really full pot. Now you may or may not, depending on your pot size, need one container to, just depends on the size pot you want. I sometimes like to mix the vegetable broth and the beef broth together. So this one is pretty good. You're gonna let it cook, so you want enough that it can cook down and enough to make it, you know, like a soup, because that's what it is. So we've got enough of that in there. Now I want to show you what I call my secret ingredient when it comes to seasoning. I've got salt, pepper, you know, everyone can tell you, literally on the other side of this, the whole cabinet is nothing but seasoning, because I like flavor. Okay, so I want to show you a secret weapon when it comes to flavor. Now, if you have not tried Pampered Chef's Taste Buds program, then you really need to try it. It's a subscription service, and every month you'll get 3 packets of different seasonings for you to try. It's a great way to try different flavor combinations, to try things that you've never done before. I tried, when I was a customer before I became a consultant, I tried their Asian blend in my Taste Buds subscription. You guys, oh, the flavor. The flavor makes my homemade ramen noodle bowls just out of this world. So what I'm gonna add to this is the Tuscan style herb chicken. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, why are you adding chicken stuff to vegetable beef? This is what I like to call your all-in-one, must-have in your kitchen seasoning. This has garlic, it has onion, it has thyme, basil, rosemary, bay leaf, you name it, it's in here. It packs a punch when it comes to flavor. So I'm going to add this into my soup just to give it another level of flavor. So I just want to show you, in case you haven't ever tried the Taste Buds subscription, that, like I said, the subscription, you get 3 different seasoning blends every month along with recipe cards. So it's really a great way to try new recipes out, because you're going to get those recipe cards and different seasoning blends. You're probably going to find your favorites. Like I said, I love the Asian blend. It is amazing. And this one is one of my all-time favorites as well. So on the inside, they give you plenty. Like, this thing is thick. It is loaded full of seasoning. So you can have a couple of meals worth of seasoning to really get a good taste of what this blend is like. And that way, if you like it, guess what? You can go on and you can order you some more. So try Taste Buds. It's great. But let's get back to the soup. Another great tip that I use when I want to change up how I'm cooking, because there's so many ways you can add different flavors to your vegetable beef, is I add a packet of au jus in there, or 2, depending on the size of the pot that you're making. Again, it's just another way to add another depth of flavor. This is what I like to call your creative meal. Like, you could do anything you want to this vegetable beef soup and make it amazing. So try it out. All right, so I have seasoned the pot with my Tuscan herb chicken seasoning. I've added some extra salt and pepper, a little bit more garlic, because that's what I like. So the seasoning blend is gonna kind of depend on you and what you like and what your family likes. So season it to your taste and to your liking. But you can see this pot is a lot. I've got just enough broth in there. I may add just a little bit more, just to make it a little bit more soupy, because I know it's going to cook down some. But that's basically it in a nutshell. Let this cook for about 30 minutes. It's probably taken about 15 minutes or so prep time to put everything together. And then let it cook for 30 or 45 minutes if you have that amount of time, just to get all the flavor in there. Taste it as you're going along. I'd come back every 15 minutes or so, taste it, see if you need to tweak it, add a little more salt or add a little more seasoning, because like I said, it's going to be up to you and what you like. You can also, and this is another tip, if you want to turn it a little bit more with an Asian feel, you can add you some soy sauce to it. Now, if you decide to do that, cut back on your salt, or wait to salt until after you put the soy sauce in. And it only takes literally like a couple of tablespoons of soy sauce, because soy sauce goes a long way. But it's going to add another depth of flavor, but soy sauce also has salt in it already. So salt after you add that in. It's a great way to add, like I said, another twist to your classic vegetable beef soup. This is easy. It's from start to finish in about an hour. You can feed your entire family a hearty meal. Combine it with some great homemade biscuits or a bread of some sort to kind of dip in there and soak up some of the meat and juices, and boom, done. I guarantee you your family is going to love it. So I'll put a picture at the end of my bowl when we're getting ready to eat it, so you can see what the finished product looks like. But if you've enjoyed this recipe, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and sign up to my Facebook VIP group, where I constantly load up videos and recipes and show you all that you can do in your kitchen. So I hope you enjoyed the recipe. You guys have a great day. All right, and we are done. How amazing does that look? It is chocked full of vegetables. It's got your beef. It has an amazing broth. So like I said, combine some biscuits, or like I'm gonna probably do, have a nice pan of cornbread with it, and boom, there you go. Hearty, filling, full of flavor. Thanks for joining me.